My nieces hung my daughter's first bras outside to mock her, so I acted quickly to teach them a lesson. When my nieces mocked my daughter by hanging her first set of bras for the world to see, they thought it was just a joke. But when it comes to my child, I don't take anything lightly. It was time they learned a lesson they'd never forget. The moment I held my daughter Eva in my arms for the first time, I knew I'd do anything to protect her. 13 years later, that feeling hasn't changed one bit. Sure, she's growing up fast, but to me she'll always be that little girl taking her first wobbly steps, her tiny hand gripping my finger for support. The day Hurricane Helene tore through our town, everything changed. My sister Hazel's house took the brunt of it, leaving her and my nieces, Lily and Sophie, without a home. My wife Nancy and I didn't hesitate to offer them shelter. It seemed like the right thing to do. We're family, after all. But family or not, I laid down some ground rules the day they moved in. "Girls," I said, looking Lily and Sophie in the eye, "you're welcome here, but I need you to respect our space. Especially Eva's room. That's off limits unless she invites you in." They nodded, all wide-eyed innocence. I should have known better. It wasn't even a week before Eva came storming into the kitchen, her face flushed with anger. "Dad, they've been in my room again. My new eyeshadow palette is ruined, and my favorite dress is missing." I felt my jaw clench. "Are you sure, sweetie?" "Of course I'm sure. I found Lily wearing my dress, and there are greasy fingerprints all over my makeup." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. "I'll talk to them, Eva. I promise this won't happen again." If only I'd known how much worse things were about to get. The next morning, I woke to the sound of Eva's muffled sobs. I rushed to her room and found her staring out the window, tears streaming down her face. "Dad, look what they've done!" "Eva, what's wrong?" I asked, following her gaze. And then I saw it. There, fluttering in the breeze for all the neighborhood to see, were Eva's first bras. Simple, modest sports bras that represented a milestone in her life. They were now turned into a spectacle of humiliation. "Oh, sweetie," I murmured, pulling her into a hug. She buried her face in my chest, her body shaking. From the porch below, I heard poorly stifled giggles. Lily and Sophie were clearly enjoying their handiwork. "I'll take care of this," I promised Eva. "You stay here." I stormed downstairs, my face set in stone. Lily and Sophie's laughter died as soon as they saw me. "Inside, now," I growled. They shuffled in, suddenly finding their shoes very interesting. "What were you thinking?" I demanded. Lily, always the bolder one, tried for nonchalance. "It was just a joke, Uncle Adam. Eva's so uptight about her stuff. A joke?" I cut her off. "You think it's funny to humiliate your cousin? To violate her privacy? After everything we've done for you?" Sophie piped up, her voice small, but she wouldn't let us borrow her makeup. "That doesn't give you the right to go through her things," I exploded. "This isn't your house. You're guests here, and you've broken every rule we set." The girls flinched at my outburst. Good, maybe now they'd listen. "Take those bras down, now, and when your mom gets home, we're going to have a long talk about respect and boundaries." I caught a glimpse of Eva watching from her window as they scurried outside. The hurt in her eyes made my heart ache. I'd spent the afternoon installing locks on every door in the house except for the guest room and bathroom. As I heard Hazel's car pull up, I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation to come. The front door opened, and Hazel's voice rang out. "We're home! Eva, girls, want to help with dinner?" Silence greeted her. Then the sound of a doorknob rattling. "Adam?" Hazel called, confusion evident in her voice. "Why is the kitchen locked?" I stepped into the hallway, my face grim. "We need to talk, Hazel." Her eyes narrowed as she took in my expression. "What's going on?" "Your daughters crossed a line today. They went into Eva's room without permission, took her bras, and hung them outside for everyone to see." Hazel's jaw dropped. "They did what?" Lily and Sophie, who had been hovering behind their mother, suddenly found the floor fascinating. "Since they can't seem to respect our home or Eva's privacy, I've decided to help them understand what that feels like," I continued. "Every room in this house, except your guest room and the bathroom, is now off limits to you three." "You can't be serious," Hazel sputtered. "I've never been more serious in my life. You're welcome to stay here, but only if the girls apologize to Eva and promise to respect her space. Otherwise, you're free to find other accommodations." The silence that followed was deafening. Then Hazel whirled on her daughters. Is this true? Mom, it was just a prank, Lily murmured. A prank? Hazel's voice rose an octave. You humiliated your cousin and violated her privacy, and you call it a prank? After everything Uncle Adam and Aunt Nancy have done for us? Sophie burst into tears. We didn't mean to. Oh, you meant to, I cut in, my patience wearing thin. You knew exactly what you were doing when you went into Eva's room and took her things. Hazel ran a hand through her hair, clearly overwhelmed. Adam, I am so sorry. I had no idea they would do something like this. We'll start looking for a new place tomorrow. I softened slightly. Hazel, you're family. You're welcome to stay, but things need to change. Eva deserves to feel safe and respected in her own home. Hazel nodded, tears in her eyes. You're right. I'll make sure the girls understand that. Girls, go upstairs and apologize to Eva. Now. As Lily and Sophie trudged up the stairs, Hazel turned back to me. Adam, I know we've been a burden since the hurricane. I promise to make this right. Later that night, I knocked on Eva's door. Can I come in, sweetie? Yeah, Dad, came the soft reply. I found her curled up on her bed, hugging a pillow. My heart broke all over again. How are you holding up? I asked, sitting beside her. She shrugged. Okay, I guess. Lily and Sophie apologized. And I told them it was fine. She sighed. What else could I say? I put an arm around her shoulders. You could have told them how you really felt. It's okay to be angry, Eva. She leaned into me, her voice barely above a whisper. I just want things to go back to normal. Before the hurricane, before they moved in. I know, sweetheart, I said, kissing the top of her head. I promise things will be different from now on. We'll find a way to make this work. We sat in comfortable silence for a while before Eva spoke again. Dad, yeah? Thanks for standing up for me. I hugged her tighter. Always, Eva. Always. Over the next few weeks, a fragile peace settled over the house. True to their word, Lily and Sophie paid Eva back for the makeup they'd ruined from their pocket money. I'd catch glimpses of them counting out crumpled bills, setting them aside for Eva. Later that night, as Nancy and I were getting ready for bed, she turned to me with a proud smile. You handled this whole situation really well, you know, she said, squeezing my hand. Especially with everything that's happened since the hurricane. I shrugged. I just did what any father would do. Nancy shook her head. No, you did more than that. You protected Eva, but you also gave Hazel and the girls a chance to make things right. That takes strength and compassion. I pulled her close, thinking about the long road we'd traveled since Hurricane Helene upended our lives. We're family, I said simply. Sometimes that means teaching hard lessons, but it also means giving second chances, especially when times are tough. As we drifted off to sleep, I thought about Eva, Lily, and Sophie. They were all growing up so fast, navigating not just the choppy waters of adolescence, but the aftermath of a natural disaster that had thrown their lives into chaos. There would be more storms ahead, no doubt, but maybe, just maybe, they'd weather them together. And me? I'd be there, steady as a lighthouse, guiding them home whenever they needed me, because that's what fathers do. That's what family does. But they won't forget the lesson they have learned about respecting other people's things anytime soon, and neither will I. Here's another story. My neighbor kept hanging out her undies right outside my son's window. When she refused to take them down, I taught her an unforgettable lesson. This work is inspired by real events and people, but it has been fictionalized for creative purposes. Names, characters, and details have been changed to protect privacy and enhance the narrative. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental and not intended by the author. The author and publisher make no claims to the accuracy of events or the portrayal of characters, and are not liable for any misinterpretation. This story is provided as is, and any opinions expressed are those of the characters and do not reflect the views of the author or publisher.